Look deeply at the state of the world today. We see a civilization that appears to be fracturing at the seams. The wars that never end, shifting from one border to another like a restless infection. The economic systems, built on debt and illusion, designed to keep you running on a treadmill of survival. The constant low-level hum of anxiety that seems to vibrate through the very air we breathe, keeping our nervous systems in a permanent state of fight or flight. For the average person, observing this reality leads to one conclusion: chaos. It looks like bad luck. It looks like human incompetence, corruption, or the random cruelty of a godless universe drifting through the void. We are taught from birth that history is just a series of accidents, a sequence of random collisions leading us to this precipice of destruction. But what if that is a lie? What if I told you that there are no accidents? What if the chaos you see is not a malfunction, but a feature? We are living in a time of unveiling. The Greeks called it the apocalypse, which does not mean the end of the world, but the lifting of the veil. The ancients knew this time would come. The mystery schools guarded the timeline. But in 1981, a specific transmission broke through the noise of our planet, offering us not just a prophecy, but the technical blueprints of our reality. This transmission does not ask for your belief. It asks for your discernment. It suggests that the confusion you feel is actually a highly sophisticated mechanism. A mechanism designed for one specific, terrifying, and beautiful purpose: to force you to make a choice. To understand why darkness exists on this planet, to truly understand the nature of the evil we are facing and why it seems to be accelerating, we first have to understand the game board itself. We have to strip away the politics and the culture wars and look at the metaphysical architecture of the prison. The story of this blueprint begins in January of 1981 with three researchers: Don Elkins, Carla Ruckert, and Jim McCarty. They were not cultists or religious fanatics. They were experimental researchers investigating the frontiers of consciousness and physics. During a dedicated session of deep trance meditation, they made contact with an entity, or rather, a unified group of minds, calling itself Ra. This was not a ghost. It was not a demonic entity whispering in the dark. Ra identified itself as a social memory complex. This is a term used to describe a civilization that has evolved millions of years past the human stage. In their reality, the veil of separation has fallen. The thoughts, memories, and experiences of every individual in their civilization are available to all. They are a single unified consciousness, existing in what they call the sixth density. Ra claimed to be an old acquaintance of humanity. They stated that they had visited Earth thousands of years ago, appearing to the Egyptians during the 18th dynasty. They attempted to teach the Law of One to the pharaoh Akhenaten. They designed the Great Pyramid, not as a tomb, but as a machine, a chamber of initiation designed to balance the energies of the initiate and facilitate healing. However, their message was distorted. The priests and the elite of that time took the technology and the philosophy of unity and twisted it. They used it to create a religion of separation, placing themselves above the common people, hiding the truth in secret chambers. Seeing this distortion, Ra withdrew from the earth plane, watching from a distance, waiting for a time when the call for truth would be strong enough to try again. That time was 1981. And what they delivered over the next 3 years, through 106 sessions of recorded conversation, is widely considered the most complex, consistent, and profound metaphysical material ever recorded. They did not speak in riddles. They spoke in precise, almost scientific concepts, describing the physics of the soul and the mathematical nature of our evolution. At the very center of their message is the law of one. The concept is deceptively simple. All things, all life, all universes are one. There is no real separation. You, me, the ground you walk on, the stars in the sky, and even the darkest tyrant ruling over a nation. We are all fragments of the one infinite creator, experiencing itself. But this creates a paradox. If we are all one, if we are all the creator, then why are we here? Why are we trapped in these fragile biological bodies? Why is there pain? Why is there suffering? Why does the creator allow evil to exist if it is all just one? Ra explains that for the creator to know itself, it had to create the illusion of separation. This is the first distortion of the law of one, free will. Think of it like a poker game. If you play poker with fake chips, you play recklessly. You don't care if you lose. The game has no intensity because there is no risk. But if you put your life savings on the table, suddenly every move matters. Your heart races. The experience becomes visceral and real. To make the experience of life real, to make the game playable, a specific condition was placed upon our reality. Ra calls it the veil of forgetting. Before you were born, you knew exactly who you were. You knew your connection to the source. You knew your power. But the moment you entered this physical body, the moment you took your first breath in this third density, that memory was wiped clean. This was not a punishment, it was a tactical necessity. If you knew with absolute certainty that you were an eternal being of light, if you knew that death was an illusion, then your choices here wouldn't matter. There would be no stakes. You would walk through fire without fear, because you would know the fire isn't real. But because of the veil, the fire feels real. The pain feels real. The fear feels absolute. And because you are blind to the truth, your choices in the dark carry immense metaphysical weight. This is the purpose of the veil, to transform a predictable universe into a realm of genuine confusion, allowing for the emergence of genuine faith. This brings us to the actual purpose of our existence on Earth. We are not here to build empires. We are not here to accumulate wealth. We are not even here to be happy in the way modern society defines it. We are here to catalyze the spirit. Ra explains that the universe is not static. It is evolving in stages or densities, similar to the octaves of music or the spectrum of light. First density is the cycle of awareness, the elements, water, fire, earth, wind. Second density is the cycle of growth and movement, plants and animals. We are currently in third density, the density of self-consciousness. Ra describes third density as a very short, intense cycle. It lasts approximately 75,000 years. We are currently at the very end of this cycle. The purpose of this specific density is remarkably simple, yet it is the most difficult step in the universe. The purpose is to make the choice. In the higher densities, the truth is obvious. Everyone knows they are one. But here, in the dark, we must choose our polarity without proof. The universe requires you to polarize. You cannot remain neutral. To graduate from this reality, to move beyond the veil and stop the wheel of reincarnation, you must choose how you will direct your energy. Ra warns against the sinkhole of indifference. Those who do not choose, those who drift through life without a strong commitment to either good or evil, are not safe. They are stagnant. They are held back to repeat the grade until the lesson is learned. The universe does not judge you for your choice, but it demands that a choice be made. And in this universe, there are only two paths. There are only two ways to polarize your consciousness to a level that allows for graduation. There is the path of unity, acceptance, and love. Ra calls this service to others. This is the path of seeing the Creator in every face you meet. It is the path of radiating light outwards, respecting the free will of others, and seeking to serve the collective. To graduate on this path, you must be 51% service to others. You do not have to be perfect. You just have to care about others slightly more than you care about yourself. And then there is the other path, the path of control, separation, and domination. Ra calls this service to self. This is where the story gets dark. Because just as a battery requires a positive and a negative terminal to generate power, the universe requires these two polarities to drive evolution. There are forces in this galaxy that understood this mechanic billions of years ago. They realized that they could evolve, they could gain godlike power, and they could achieve immortality, not by loving the Creator, but by becoming the Creator, by bending the universe to their will, by subjugating other selves and absorbing their power. They chose the negative path. And contrary to what we are told in Sunday school, the universe allows this. It respects free will absolutely. For thousands of years, these negative forces have been interested in Earth. We are not alone in this veil of forgetting. We are inside a quarantine. And the voices whispering in the ears of our leaders, the invisible hand moving the pieces on the geopolitical chessboard, are not merely human greed. They are the local representatives of a vast interstellar philosophy of conquest. To understand the wars of today, we must understand the architects of the negative path. We must understand the Orion Group. To understand the enemy, you must first respect the discipline of the enemy. We often make the mistake of thinking that evil is simply a lack of morality, or that the people destroying our world are merely broken, insane, or greedy. We dismiss them as psychopaths and move on. But the law of one presents a far more terrifying reality. True darkness is not a mistake. It is a deliberate, highly calculated spiritual path. Ra calls this the service to self path, and it is not for the lazy. To graduate on the positive path, you must open your heart. You must accept others. You must see the unity in all things. But to graduate on the negative path, you must achieve the exact opposite. You must consciously and deliberately close the heart chakra. You must block the influx of love and view the self as the only object of importance in the universe. If the positive path is like a sun, radiating light outwards, giving endlessly without asking for return. The negative path is a black hole. It possesses immense gravity. It possesses immense power. But it achieves this power by collapsing everything into itself. The entity on this path sees the universe not as a community, but as a resource field. Other people are not other selves. They are objects. They are batteries. They exist solely to serve the will of the self. This is the metaphysical root of the elite mindset that has plagued humanity for millennia. When you look at the rulers who send millions to die in wars, or the bankers who starve nations for profit, you are not looking at people who have lost their way. You are looking at initiates of the negative path. They do not hate you. Hate would imply a connection. They simply do not view you as real in the same way they are real. To them, the vast majority of humanity are non-entities, mindless automatons to be used, moved, and discarded in the pursuit of their own ascension. They believe they are doing the universe a favor by bringing order to the chaos, even if that order requires a boot stamping on a human face, forever. This philosophy of absolute separation creates a very specific social structure. It creates the pyramid. On the positive path, power is shared. A leader is simply the one who serves the most. But on the negative path, power is hoarded. Ra explains that negative societies, whether they are human secret societies, criminal syndicates, or extraterrestrial empires, are always structured as a rigid, unyielding hierarchy. There is no concept of equality. There are only masters and slaves. Those at the bottom of the pyramid are enslaved by those above them. They follow orders without question, driven by fear. But they accept this slavery because they are given the power to enslave those below them. It is a pecking order of domination. The lieutenant fears the captain, but he abuses the sergeant. The sergeant fears the lieutenant, but he abuses the private. This structure relies on a total lack of trust. In a service-to-self hierarchy, you can never sleep soundly. The goal of the negative entity is to climb the pyramid, to displace the master above him and take his spot. This means the master must constantly watch his back, paranoid of the very subordinates he relies on. It is a constant, brutal struggle for dominance, where love is viewed as a weakness to be exploited. And this is why the world feels like a prison, because the architects of our systems are building a reflection of their own spiritual philosophy. They are building a hierarchy where freedom is dangerous, and total control is seen as the highest form of order. They are trying to negative polarize the planet, creating a society where the only way to survive is to step on the person next to you. They want you to believe that it is a dog-eat-dog world, because if you believe that, you are already walking their path. But who is at the top of the pyramid? If you follow the chain of command up through the corporations, through the governments, through the intelligence agencies and the secret societies, eventually you run out of humans. The capstone of the pyramid is missing. This is where the Law of One introduces the Orion Group. Ra describes a massive confederation of negative planets centered in the Orion constellation that have banded together for the purpose of conquest. They call themselves the Crusaders. And just like the Crusaders of our history, they believe they are on a holy mission. They believe that they are the true elite of the galaxy, and that it is their destiny to conquer and assimilate other worlds into their empire. However, there is a catch. They cannot simply invade Earth with fleets of ships and laser beams. That would be too crude. More importantly, it would violate the law of free will so flagrantly that the Confederation of Planets, the positive forces, would be forced to intervene. So the Orion Group operates by the rules of the game. They do not invade with force, they invade with ideas. They invade with telepathy. They scan the galaxy, looking for planets that are on the brink of evolution, planets just like Earth. They listen for the call. They look for individuals who are calling out for power, for control, for domination. And when they find these individuals, they answer. They send thoughts, they send inspiration, they send technical information. They groom the elite of a planet to become their representatives. They do not need to land a single spaceship to conquer a world. They simply need to convince the local leaders that slavery is better than freedom. This is the hidden history of our world. This is the mechanism behind the rise of the great tyrants and the hidden empires. The Orion Group makes contact with the elite of a planet, often through psychic means or dark rituals, and they offer a trade. It is the classic Faustian bargain. They offer advanced technology. They offer knowledge of magic and the manipulation of consciousness. They offer the methods to control the masses through propaganda and fear. In exchange, the elite align themselves with the Orion frequency. They become the local managers of the Orion Empire. They pledge their loyalty to the negative hierarchy. Ra explains that many of the gods of ancient history, the ones who demanded blood sacrifice, the ones who demanded total obedience and punished independent thought, were actually representatives of this group. They were not the creator. They were cosmic imposters. They provided the service to self blueprints that our current controllers still follow today. The concept of the divine right of kings, the idea that a select bloodline is destined to rule over the rest, this is an Orion concept. It is an alien ideology imported to Earth to keep us locked in the third density. Even today, look at the symbols used by the global elite. The eye in the pyramid, the fascination with bloodlines, the obsession with secret rituals. These are not just club activities for the rich. They are the methods used to maintain contact with their sponsors. They are calling for reinforcement. They are creating a resonance that invites the Orion energy into our density, allowing the Crusaders to manipulate our reality from behind the veil. But why do they do it? What is the point? What does an advanced alien civilization capable of interstellar travel gain from enslaving a primitive, chaotic planet like Earth? The answer is simple, and it is horrifying. The answer is energy. On the positive path, an entity draws energy directly from the source, from the one infinite creator. It is an infinite, limitless supply of light. They do not need to take from anyone else. But on the negative path, the entity has cut itself off from the heart of the creator. It has closed the connection. It has rejected the infinite supply. So, like a vampire, it must feed on the energy of others to survive. It must suck the vitality out of other conscious beings to maintain its power. They feed on a specific frequency of energy. In modern esoteric circles, this is often called Loosh. Ra explains that intense emotions are not just chemical reactions in your brain. They are energy broadcasts. And the most potent energy for the negative entity is the energy of pain, terror, anxiety, and despair. When a population is kept in a state of constant fear, fear of war, fear of poverty, fear of a virus, fear of the other, they are generating a massive amount of psychic energy. This energy is harvested. It is consumed. It sustains the negative entities and powers their evolution. This explains why our news cycle is designed to traumatize you. It explains why our wars never seem to end. It explains why our entertainment is filled with violence and degradation. They are not trying to solve the problems. They are trying to keep the battery charged. We are not just citizens to them. We are livestock in a psychic farm. We have spoken of the prison. We have spoken of the wardens. But now we must speak of the escape. Because the prison is not permanent. The quarantine is not forever. According to Ra, the Earth does not exist in a vacuum of time. It moves through a specific cosmic clock. The universe operates on cycles within cycles, gears within gears. And just as the Earth rotates to create a day and orbits the Sun to create a year, our entire solar system orbits a greater central point, moving through different areas of cosmic energy. Ra explains that the master cycle for a third density planet is approximately 75,000 years. This massive span of time is divided into 3 smaller cycles of 25,000 years each. At the end of each cycle, a harvest occurs. It is a metaphysical sorting process, a cosmic tribunal. We are currently at the end of the final cycle. The 75,000 years are up. This is why the world feels like it is accelerating. This is why time itself feels like it is collapsing. We are not just living through a political crisis or an environmental crisis. We are living through the final days of a planetary age. The Earth itself is vibrating at a new frequency. It is trying to move on. It is trying to birth a new reality. But the harvest is not automatic. It is not a guarantee that you will move forward. The harvest is an examination of the soul. Ra describes it not as a judgment by a god who sits on a throne, but as a mechanical, vibrational measurement. Imagine a spectrum of light. To pass through a specific gate, your soul must be vibrating at a certain color, a certain frequency. If you are vibrating too low, you cannot physically withstand the light of the next density. You would be burned by it. So you must be held back. You must repeat the grade. You must reincarnate on another third density planet to continue the lessons of the veil. So, what are the requirements? What is the passing grade for this cosmic exam? This is where the Law of One provides the most specific and perhaps the most surprising mathematical formula in all of esotericism. To graduate to the 4th density negative, the realm of the Orion Group, the realm of absolute power and order, you must be 95% service to self. You must be almost purely selfish. You must have completely eliminated any trace of empathy, any trace of compassion for others. You must be a perfect crystallized vessel of domination. This is incredibly difficult to achieve. Most of the villains of our history do not even qualify for this. They are too petty, too confused. To graduate to the fourth density positive, the realm of love, understanding, and unity, the requirement is much lower. You do not need to be a saint. You do not need to be perfect. You do not need to be 95% good. You only need to be 51% service to others. Think about that ratio. You only need to care about the welfare of others slightly more than you care about the welfare of yourself. You can still have flaws. You can still get angry. You can still have an ego. But if the tipping point of your heart leans just 1% towards love, towards service, towards unity, you pass. You graduate. However, Ra warns of a third category, the category where the vast majority of humanity currently resides. They call it the sinkhole of indifference. These are the souls who are neither hot nor cold. They are not evil enough to be negative, and they are not disciplined enough to be positive. They drift. They are distracted by the toys of the Matrix, the money, the fame, the petty dramas. They do not make a choice, and because they do not make a choice, they cannot be harvested. They are destined to repeat the cycle, trapped in the illusion of time, until they finally decide which path they walk. But there is a wild card in this game. There is a group of souls on Earth right now who do not belong here. Ra estimates that there are millions of entities incarnated on Earth who are not originally from this planet. They are not from the third density. They are souls from the fourth, fifth, and sixth densities. Souls who had already graduated, who were already living in the light. But they heard the sorrow of Earth. They heard the call of humanity suffering under the weight of the negative elite. And so, out of love, they volunteered to come back. They volunteered to incarnate into human bodies, to have their memories wiped, and to enter the quarantine. Ra calls them the Wanderers. You might be one of them. The symptoms of being a wanderer are specific. You have always felt a sense of alienation, a feeling that you do not belong on this planet. You look at the systems of this world, the wars, the money, the cruelty, and they don't just make you sad, they make you confused. They seem insane to you. You may struggle with deep depression, a profound sense of homesickness for a place you cannot remember. You may have physical sensitivities, allergies, a fragility that others don't seem to have. The mission of the Wanderer is simple: to be a beacon. They are here to raise the vibration of the planet simply by being here. By carrying the frequency of the higher densities within their DNA, they act as anchors for the light. But the mission is dangerous. A wanderer is subject to the same veil of forgetting as everyone else. They can get lost. They can get trapped in the karma of Earth. They can forget who they are and become cynical, bitter, or corrupted. Ra warns that if a wanderer becomes entangled in the negative path, they are caught in the gravity well. They cannot go home until they balance the scales. It is a cosmic rescue mission where the rescuer risks drowning with the victim. We are now in the transition, the birth pains. Ra explains that the planet itself has already moved into the fourth density vibration. The green ray, the energy center of the heart, is now active. But the social structures of humanity, the empires of the Orion Group, are still clinging to the third density, the yellow ray of ego and separation. This friction is what causes the chaos we see today. It is the grinding of gears between two different realities. The old world is dying, but it refuses to go quietly. The negative powers know their time is short. They know that the new frequency is incompatible with their control grid. Shadows cannot exist in a room that is being flooded with light. So, they are fighting back with everything they have. They are trying to lower the vibration of the collective consciousness. They are trying to keep you in fear, because fear anchors you to the third density. Fear is the heavy weight that keeps the balloon from rising. We are witnessing a splitting of timelines, a bifurcation of reality. Those who choose the negative path and those who refuse to choose will eventually find themselves in a reality that matches their vibration, a reality of continued struggle and separation. But those who choose the positive path, those who actively seek to open their hearts even in the face of darkness, are walking into a new earth. They are tuning their radios to a different station. As the transition completes, the veil will thin. The control systems will crumble not because we fought them with guns, but because they simply cannot function in the physics of the new density. So, what is the strategy? How do we fight an interstellar empire that controls our money, our media, and our governments? The answer is the final paradox of the law of one. You do not fight them. To fight them is to play their game. To hate them is to feed them. Remember, they eat conflict. They eat anger. If you hate the elite, you are sending them a check in the mail. The only way to win is to change the frequency. Ra introduces a concept called the law of squares. It is the physics of spiritual power. It states that one person who is fully awake, fully conscious, and aligned with the one infinite creator is more powerful than 10,000 people who are asleep. The power does not add up linearly, it squares. Two people meditating in perfect unity are not twice as powerful as one. They are 4 times as powerful. 10 people are 100 times as powerful. This is why they try to keep us separated. This is why they fear unity more than anything else. Your mission is not to save the world by force. Your mission is to save yourself. Your mission is to remember who you are, to pierce the veil, to realize that the darkness is just a shadow, and a shadow cannot touch the light. When you look at the news, do not give it your fear. Observe it, understand it, and then withdraw your energy. Starve the beast. The harvest is here. The bell has rung. The choice is yours. Are you a victim of the darkness? Or are you a wanderer who simply forgot that you carry the light? In the love and the light of the one infinite creator, the game is already won. You just have to wake up and claim the victory. We are now standing at the edge of the precipice. The transition is not coming, it is already here. Ra explains that as the harvest progresses, we will witness a phenomenon known as the splitting of worlds. For a short time, the third density, the world of control and sorrow, and the fourth density, the world of love and understanding, will overlap. They are occupying the same space and time, but they are vibrating at different rates. This is why you may feel like you are living in a different reality than your neighbor, or your family, or your government. You are seeing the same events, but you are interpreting them through a completely different lens of consciousness. You are literally beginning to inhabit a different Earth. The negative elite know this. They know their time is short. They know that the green ray frequency of the heart is incompatible with their control grid. Shadows cannot exist in a room that is being flooded with light. So they are fighting back with everything they have. They are trying to lower the vibration of the collective consciousness. They are trying to keep you in fear, because fear anchors you to the dying world. Fear is the heavy weight that keeps the balloon from rising. But you must understand, their chaos is not a sign of their strength. It is a sign of their panic. The control system is crumbling not because we fought them with guns, but because the physics of the planet are changing. They are trying to build a castle on shifting sand. So, this is the message. This is the transmission for those who have ears to hear. You are not a victim of the darkness. You are not a helpless observer of the collapse. You are the variable that changes the equation. The law of one reminds us that we are all the infinite creator. The entity playing the role of the tyrant is you. The entity playing the role of the victim is you. The entity playing the role of the savior is you. It is all a game of mirrors, designed to teach you one simple, impossible lesson: unconditional love. If you can look at the darkness of this world, the corruption, the evil, the suffering, and instead of reacting with fear, you can react with understanding, you break the cycle. You starve the beast. You reclaim your power. Do not let them harvest your fear. Do not let them harvest your anger. Observe the drama, understand the game, and then withdraw your energy. Turn your face toward the light. The bell has rung. The exam is over. The choice is yours. Are you a prisoner of the illusion? Or are you a wanderer who simply forgot that you carry the light? Wake up. The dream is ending, and the real work is about to begin. In the love and the light of the one infinite creator, Adonai. If you are hearing my voice right now, it means you are part of the 1%. Most people clicked off this video in the first 3 minutes. They went back to the distractions, back to the noise, back to the sleep. But you stayed. You walked through the dark with me for the last hour. That tells me something about you. It tells me you aren't just looking for entertainment. You are looking for the truth. We are building something different here at D-Tunes Reality. We are not backed by corporate studios. We don't have a massive team. This is independent, unfiltered exploration of the unknown. We are growing, but the mission is just beginning. To unlock the full potential of this channel, to build the studio and the reality we envision, we need to breach the next level. So, I have a request for the few of you who made it this far. I want to know who is really listening. Go to the comments section right now and type the code word HARVEST. Don't add anything else if you don't want to. Just the word. This signals to me and to the algorithm that you completed the journey. It separates the wanderers from the tourists. If you found value in this transmission, leave a like and share this with someone who is ready to wake up. We are working on the next chapter, and trust me, we are going even deeper. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your energy. This is D-Tune's reality. End of transmission.